listening to the Marketing Happy Hour podcast, where we discuss career and industry insights with our peers in marketing.
We're here to talk about it all, like the ups and downs of working in social media,
how to build authentic relationships in the influencer and PR space,
managing a 9-to-5 and a side hustle at the same time,
how to be productive in your life and career without losing your sanity, and more.
Ultimately, we're here to build a community with you because we're all trying to navigate the world of marketing together.
Are you ready? Grab your favorite drink and join your hosts, Cassie and Erica, for this week's episode. Hey, Marketing Happy Hour listeners. Quick note just to say thank you for all of the wonderful feedback around our rebrand. Another huge shout out goes to photographer Amy Santavica and Vistaprint's 99 Designs for making all of our branding dreams come true. We can't wait to continue sharing more about the process with all of you, but in the meantime, we do have a special offer to share. You can get $20 off your first design contest when you head to 99designs.com/marketing-happy-hour. For anyone listening who's looking to work with professional, creative experts to build your brand with custom and memorable design, this platform is for you. Check it out.
To ask questions or for help. There are some days where I do need to ask for help, and you're not weak for asking questions or asking your manager to help you out. They're there to help you. And as I was thinking about this, how do you expect to grow and do something if you don't know how to do it? So if I want to be a brand manager, I'll have to ask some questions, then eventually know how to do this so that I will become the brand manager.
Today's guest is a talented creative and the assistant manager of brand and product marketing for Rare Beauty, founded by Selena Gomez and backed by the mission of helping everyone celebrate their individuality by redefining what beauty means. Jaylen Adams is here to share her team's product launch checklists and strategies for how you can get organized for marketing an upcoming launch. Those strategies include streamlining process between PR, social, and sales teams, plus how Jaylen has gained the courage to pitch new ideas to those teams. You'll also get a look into her career and how she's moved up in her role in the 3 years she's been with Rare Beauty. If you've ever wanted to know how Rare Beauty has found success and how you can too in marketing your brand and product, then this episode is for you. You ready? Grab a glass of your favorite beverage and listen in. Hey, Jaylen, we're so excited to have you today on Marketing Happy Hour. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you guys and get this going.
Yes, absolutely. Well, before we dive in, because this is Marketing Happy Hour, we have to ask you, Jaylen, what is in your glass this afternoon?
Usually it is the sparkling water with maybe some fruit or some liquor. Right now I'm having a coffee because we're recording early, but that's what I'm drinking right now.
Love that so much. I've got a Ora Bora over here, the lavender cucumber flavor. Everyone knows I love this brand by now. So what do you got, Cass?
Yeah, I have 2 drinks, not a surprise. I have water and I also have a Natalie's. It's like a juice smoothie thing. I think Natalie's is based in Florida, so supporting local today. So yeah.
We love that. Well, we're so excited to talk with you, Jaylen. We are huge fans of Rare Beauty. I just love for our listeners to kind of hear your career journey up to this point and started with Rare Beauty.
Totally. So I love my job too. I'm really grateful to be at Rare Beauty. I've been there for 3 years in March, so coming up for that, which means I started 2 weeks before the pandemic, which is really crazy to think about because I always joke with people on team, I finally figured out where the bathroom is and where to park. And then we had this meeting about Zoom and being on Zoom for 2 weeks, and then the rest is history. So I've been here for 3 years, which is crazy to think about. But I first heard about the brand from Scott Friedman, the CEO at Rare. And during my internships in college, I've had some really great bosses who have relationships with him, and they know that I really wanted to be in the beauty industry and spoke to him on my behalf. And then, I interviewed early 2020 and I'm here now and started as a marketing coordinator. So excited and really blessed to have that be my beginning, because I know that's kind of not the typical, but I'm very proud and glad to be where I am at right now.
That is so awesome. And that speaks to the power of networking within whatever your organization that you're at, even if it's not the industry or where you want to be, it just voicing what you want in the future can really help with people like your bosses, like you said. I love that.
Totally. And this is my second job. So like my first job out of college, I was an assistant at like a huge hair conglomerate, which, I liked being an assistant then, but I definitely knew I wanted to go into the beauty space. So that eventually like happened. So it doesn't really take, I wish it happened overnight, but it takes some time, to
Sure.
work and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rare Beauty, you've been there for 3 years. So is that since it began, like since the beginning of the brand?
Yeah, so that I started before launch. So we launched in September 2020. So I started in March 2020. So
Oh
there's been
my
a
goodness.
couple of us who have been here pre-launch, as we like to say. So,
Wow.
or even pre-pandemic to even think about in that term. So yeah,
Wow, that is so crazy. I love that so much. You have worked your way up in the company, as you mentioned, from marketing coordinator to assistant manager now. Could you just share the inside scoop for our listeners on what your internal promotion journey kind of looked like, some of the goals you set for yourself to help push you ahead in your journey?
totally. It's really funny because I was, thinking about my promotions, and all of them have come as a surprise, which I don't think is the great advice to go off of. But I started as a marketing coordinator in social media, and I didn't really love it as much as I thought I would.
Right.
I loved my team and they were super excited about all the stuff we're posting and what does that look like. And I was just like, kind of about it, to be honest. And then I pivoted over to like brand and product, which I think I flourished in this sense. Like I've been there in this on the brand side for a year now. And, I think my boss is a testament to see that, I'm so excited to do all my tasks, I'm growing more and my responsibilities have grown since being a coordinator. Um, and I think when I was told I was going to be an assistant manager, I was like, no way, like that's crazy. Like, still very grateful, but I just think that my manager really sees that I'm passionate and I really want to take on more responsibilities, whether it be talking to Sephora more or owning more shoots and model shoots and product shoots like that. So, I think it's great to have goals. Like I had my yearly review earlier this year, and I am on track to be a manager, which is what my next goal is. But I do think I have some skills I want to work on, and then also like having more responsibility to show my manager Grace that like I am ready to be a manager and ready for the next step. So I think goals are a great way to get there. And I think also like when I was thinking about this question, like I'm really happy to be, an assistant manager right now. Like I think a lot of people maybe want to get to the next step or what's next, but I'm so grateful for my job and what I do every day. So I've tried to also be grateful and, think about how far I've come, but also excited for the future and what that looks like as well.
That's so great. And it's so nice to work for a company that does lay out kind of that growth path for you. If somebody is at a company and maybe they don't have that great of a plan set out for someone, what do you recommend? How do you recommend kind of demonstrating your abilities or, quote unquote, worthiness for a promotion? What
Mhm.
would you do if you were in that position?
Maybe if you talk to other people in your position, like I'm really close with the other managers at Rare. They're some of my great friends, and we also talk about like what is that next step or what am I doing to become a manager or whatever that looks like. So maybe honing in your network and also your coworkers if you do have that relationship. I know not every place is like Rare, and I'm really lucky to call my coworkers my friends as well. So maybe I would say try to figure out what else your friends are doing or someone's in your similar industry is doing as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, so important to tap into that community for sure. I completely agree with you. So I do have to ask because I've seen Rare Beauty's CMO, Katie Welch, all over the place. She's building her personal brand, her presence on TikTok and LinkedIn. She's like always live on TikTok. I love it. I'm always scrolling through and I'm like, there's Katie again. What has been your experience with such a strong and smart leader? She seems to be leading that company so beautifully. How does her leadership style trickle down within your marketing department?
Well, first off, Katie is one of my favorite people ever, and I hope she's gonna listen to this. So I'm gonna say like, hey bestie, slay bestie. That's our like little inside joke
I
that we
love
say to
it.
each other and like text all the time. But Katie is such an important person so far in my career. Like, as I said earlier, I really didn't really want to be in social media, and she was like the first person I talked to about, so what could a career in marketing look like that's not in social media?
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for to a couple of our meetings and just figuring out what that looks like. And she was one of the first people to be like, well, this is what you would do if you work on the brand and product side, which is all what I do now. So she really helped open that door and really expanded my own knowledge of what, again, my career could look like. And Katie is such a genuine person. Like, she really listens and understands the marketing team as a whole. She really cares about us, and I feel like she really wants me to excel, even if it's at Rare Beauty and then also beyond Rare Beauty when that day comes. So you know I feel like she's a great manager. There's times where she really wants to empower the team. She is in charge of marketing, which is really big at Rare, which is like PR, creative, social, brand, and then Rare Impact. So there's a lot of people she has to empower
Yeah.
and work with. So I think she does a great job with that. And, I think she really wants us to come up with ideas and like figure out how to execute it within reason. But I think she's a great leader. And to her leadership style, like, I've been fortunate enough to work for Ashley Murphy and Grace Kim, who are my current boss and my previous boss, and they both worked for Katie before Rare. So
Oh,
I think
wow.
that's also a testament that they followed Katie to Rare Beauty. And they've worked with her so long. And I think that's a testament to Katie as a leader herself. Like, she's so great. And marketing gets a lot of stuff done. Like, she texted us all of our insights from last year, like all the accomplishments, which were a ton.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a special, strong leader to have us accomplish all those goals, because it's magic over there at Rare. I might be biased, but I think we do such a great job, and she is our fearless leader. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. They say, the company you work for is one thing, but the leader that you work for is the one that can make the most impact on your career. And I think it does really speak to her leadership style that all of these people did follow her along
yeah.
the next journey. I love that so much. That's such a dynamic and hands-on leader. It's so great to hear your experience with that. So thank
Oh
you.
yeah. And I feel like whatever she's on TikTok live, like that's how she is, like in the office or during our meetings and stuff. So she's also a great insight and resource to people. Like, I know she's helped a lot of people with like resumes or what you want to do. So I even watch her videos sometimes to figure out, what I should be doing or other
Yeah.
infos as well. So she has a ton of knowledge.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's absolutely incredible. I'm also a huge fan of all of her content and everything she puts out. But Jaylen, I'd love to ask a little bit more about your role specifically. We haven't had too many brand and product marketing managers on the show before. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your day to day and what that looks like. Do you manage a team or work alongside a team? And what does that look like for you?
Totally. So the best way I can describe my role is I think a lot of people, like, say you see a highlighter on Instagram, like you see the post and you get all the information about it, but a lot of what I do is the pre-work to getting that product to launch. So there's some days where I'm on set with models and for product shoots. That's when I work closely with creative, and I have to get the product's photo ready, shade matching the best shades to use on the models, and making sure the product is represented in the best way possible. It's really important to get the shot on set, because that's the whole point of us shooting these, is to make sure everything looks appropriate and great. there's days where I'm working with PD on upcoming stuff down the pipeline and, figuring out shade names, shade descriptions, what that product benefit is going to be. Other days I'm briefing our marketing team on like our upcoming launch. So like the product copy, the assets, then we'll go to market campaign. There's other days where I'm looking at the upcoming gondola for these product launches and really have to look at the shelving, which is like our shelf at Sephora, and kind of proofread the English and also the 14 other languages that we're in right now, which is amazing. But that's kind of my day to day. I also love to keep a pulse, on what's coming out in the beauty industry. What other competitors are coming out in the landscape, what products that look like. So I feel like some days it could be really granular or like very big picture, but a lot of what the day-to-day is like getting all of that pre-work ready for launches that are coming up. Is like the best like single sentence I can give.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm curious too with that, because you work kind of on the preliminary product launches, the way that products are displayed digitally and also in person. You mentioned some of the displays at Sephora. Why is the way that those products displayed so important in creative, photo, video, all of that stuff? What have you all have found that has really impacted the way the consumer sees products?
Oh, excuse me. Well, I think we really want, first and foremost, the product to look its best. I think having certain colors and, speaking out a certain way, you really want the consumer to know, for instance, like our new Positive Light Silky Touch Highlighter, like we want everyone to know that it gives you that like glass-like sheen. Like if there's anything you take away from the highlighter, it gives you that nice sheen and it's really sensorial, which is why, they're open on the gondola, you can touch and press in them. So I think we really just want to provide the consumer with the best, shopping experience. Like we really want it to be fun and people want to be like, ooh, I really want to try that. Or like, what does this actually do? So, trying to figure out the best way that shows up in product copy or in the assets, as well. So that's what I would say is the most important part.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned too a minute ago that you have your hands in a lot of different elements of the business. Just the whole product launch phase, I'm sure, is very vast for you guys and all the development and minor tasks that you have to do to build up to that product launch. So how are you managing all these different projects and staying organized? Do you all use a project management tool? Like any tips you can give to us in terms of just staying organized overall?
Totally. And I will say, like, when I first started, it was totally hard to keep track of projects, like, because we work like 2 to 3 years in advance compared to like the other marketing sections of the team. Like, I would have to make sure, this is coming out, this is coming out. But we use Wrike internally, which is like really helpful for like tasks, timelines, also our photo shoots as well. I also forgot to answer your other question about like my team. It's just Grace and I. It's a small department, but we're strong and mighty, which we love to say.
Awesome.
But I think from what I've shared so far, like I work cross-functionally across majority of the teams at Rare Beauty, which I really do love. And I don't think I think we all work closely together, but I really do have to work with PD, sales, marketing, all that stuff. So I think that is really exciting to see how much effort goes into, the Silky Touch Highlighter that just launched. Like there's so many levers we have to pull to get this all as a team effort to come to market with a product.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys always do an exceptional job at marketing your new products. Could you just share? I know you touched on this a little bit with all the different elements that go into the product launch, but I would love to just hear an inside scoop on what it looks like kind of from start to finish, how your team fits in, what it looks like from the development phase into actually hitting shelves.
Totally. So I'm going to use spring as an example because we just came out with that and I love the highlighter. I might be biased, but so Grace and I know that, an under eye brightener and a highlighter are going to be launching sometime soon. So when we know this is happening, we'll work with PD, our product development team, our copy director, and Selena to come up with like the product name, the positioning, the number of shades, the shade descriptions, and so on. So we have that whole like product marketing set because, it's good to have all of that in advance because then, we'll come up with the go-to-market theme of what we want this to look like, which I can get into more later on. And then we'll brief creative and give them like a mood board of what we really want the campaign to look like, whether it be Selena, the models, and the product. So we shoot all of our on-figure stuff, so Selena and the models separately, and then we shoot product. And then once we get everything approved by Selena and our creative team, we'll schedule out all these shoots to, actually finally shoot the product and model imagery. And then once we have the product copy and the assets, we'll go to the team, so PR, social, D2C, education, sales, and be like, this is the marketing copy, this is the approved copy, here are the assets, here's what we're thinking the go-to-market strategy is, here is arm swatches and what that'll look like, and product photography as well. And then the teams will then figure out what that looks like in their own sector. So like PR will figure out what the mailer looks like, and should we have the highlighters open or closed, or what does the box look like. Social will figure out like, when are we launching, what's the launch post, like the caption copy, the community activations. Sales will then like develop training videos for Sephora employees to know how to apply and talk about the product in store. And then D2C will like figure out the wait list, the initial email, what does our actual Rare Beauty site look like, and what do those images look like. So that's like a good scope. I know it's long and long-winded, but I feel like that is like the kind of the product journey of, our Silky Touch highlighters and under eye brighteners that we just launched.
I think that's so cool to hear. I experienced something similar when I worked at a hair care brand as well. So
Okay.
I knew the process of that, but it's so cool to just be in the mix and seeing behind the scenes of what it really takes to bring a product to life, and then finally see it on the shelves of Sephora or wherever it may be. It's a lot of multifaceted, elements. So I totally love seeing that. In our guest intake form, you did mention overseeing ratings and reviews for product launches. I just love to hear what that kind of entails.
Totally. So I don't know if you guys are like me, but I look at reviews to like kind of sway my decision on buying a product. I really do love hearing and trusting people's opinions. I do also look, at the 1 stars or the 5 stars, like get a good scope. So we really want people to be swayed in buying the product. So that is why we have ratings and reviews at launch. So kind of like the backtracking a little bit with like how we get into that process. So we'll talk to our vendor about every launch, like, hey, like this is what we're launching, here's how many products we'd love to sample, the certain quantities we would love. And we really want to make sure that a wide range of individuals like get all the products, and we offer all the shades, because I think having that diverse experience does help sway the product. And I want as many people as we could possibly enjoy or review the product and get its like initial feedback as well too. So it differs between product, like our strategy, but I think that's the main goal, is to have reviews so that people are like, ooh, I'd love to buy that, that's really interesting to see that they think that about it. So
yeah, totally. And I know certain retailers have kind of requirements to launch even online with reviews. Like you have to have a certain number of reviews. I don't know what it is for the retailers that you're in, but that is an important piece to be thinking about as you launch a product, is like, what are people already saying about it?
Yeah.
I mean, many people are going to try the product because they love the brand and they're
Totally.
just going to trust you. But it is cool to have, some tried and true, like, proof that it's amazing. Do you guys use like a third party or anything to like help facilitate that, or is that all you guys?
Yeah, we do third party.
Okay.
Because we like tried to do a whole year's worth of stuff. So
yeah.
yeah,
It can get overwhelming.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Well, I just love to hear what your favorite part of a new product launch is. We kind of talked about the whole strategy, but I would just love to hear what your perspective is.
Totally. I think I have 2, which I don't know, you said favorite, but I'm gonna have to give you 2. I think
okay.
My first one is definitely like seeing that product on figure, like when some models use it and it's on Selena, like it's model shoots are a very long day and a lot of effort, but to see that relief and like the product actually like looking how it's supposed to look on set is just so like, I don't know, it's like wonderful, and like it's great to see like, wow, that really is looking great, and we're really excited for the imagery. And then second is like once we get that reveal to the world and like it's out into the open, like as I said earlier, like I work so far in advance that like I've probably been wearing the product for a couple months. I'm like, finally people get to know about it. Cause you know, I think people sometimes if I post something, they'll be like, oh, what are you wearing? It's like I really can't say yet.
Right.
So I really love seeing like our community's reactions, like a lot of stuff people ask for. And, you know, I think it's just a great, exciting day to like, oh, this is out in the world now. So it's kind of like the end of my like product journey with what I do. So it's like, wow, like we made it. So
Love that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure the shoots are very exciting. I too worked a little bit with a beauty company back in the day, and that was absolutely my favorite part, just seeing that product come to life after hearing about it for so long and just building the messaging around it. I'm sure that's very exciting.
totally.
So one thing I would love to ask too, we talk a lot about campaign building and the process for that on the show. And so would love to hear a little bit of behind the scenes from you about how you all build out some of those seasonal campaigns and any tips for building successful campaigns.
Totally. Again, I'm going to go back to spring 2023 because it's fresh in my brain about this highlighter. And I feel like every season we're always like, this is great. This is my favorite launch. There's something about spring that, you know, it's so beautiful. Like the imagery, the products, like it's just like chef's kiss. Like it's so great.
Yes.
So, you know, we obviously knew that this highlighter and under eye brightener were coming to life. I know our theme is shine your brightest. So that's kind of like the go-to-market tagline that we came up with. And, you know, Katie, Grace, and I kind of work on that. And I feel like the reason we landed on this is because Selena's confidence, that image of her and her earrings, like she just looks so confident, you know, and on set, it just was like, wow, like she's confident. So I think having that in our mind and then also knowing that the actual like highlighters and brightener are bright, you know, gives you a glass like sheen, like you're glowing in the best way possible. So I think it was kind of easy to land the plane of being like, wow, Selena looks really confident. We have these products that are really brightening and give you that glow. Like this is when you shine your brightest. Like I think it was really, you know, easy for us to land the plane. And definitely like some tips of, you know, these go-to-market campaigns. Like sometimes your first idea won't hit. Like it's totally okay. Like there's probably been so many iterations and so much we've talked about like to get to shine your brightest. Like I can't remember like the initial starting point and stuff like that, but you know, it takes a while and you know, you don't always have to get it on the first time, and you know, you always have to listen and really play with the product or, you know, be on set to like also these add you know, the details to why you can land the plane on a certain thing. So I think just, you know, taking your time, you don't have to rush. Like, this is why we work so far in advance, you know, so we don't have to be like, oh, let's go to market. Like it's launching in 2 months. Like we already have everything like packed in really well by the time we talk to our internal team. So I think that's probably a tip I would give.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure too, there's a lot of opportunity that you have to present those new ideas to come up with new, fresh concepts for messaging or the creative that you're developing. Do you have any tips for building the confidence to present ideas, to really stand behind your thoughts, your concepts that you're creating and presenting that to the team?
Totally. And I think that's something that I've been working on, especially like since I've been on the brand side for a year. Like, you know, Grace will ask me my opinion, and I think she really does value what I have to say. And I really, you know, provide examples or be like, I really think we should say this, or, you know, maybe this shade should actually be this. Like, I think trusting your manager, but also like, you know, I don't know it. I know I've been in this role for about a year, but now I'm really confident when we are on set, like, oh, I think this should be this. And I think that just comes with time, you know, like
Mhm.
definitely when I started, I wouldn't have been like on set being like, this looks, we should change this, or, you know, maybe we should do something else. But I think, you know, presenting your opinion of why you feel that way also is important, because Grace will ask me like, oh, why do you think that, you know, like what made you get to that realization, and really trying to think through why, you know, I think we should change the messaging, or maybe we should change how to use directions or something like that. So
Yeah, we talked to someone a few months back and they were talking about how to pitch and present new ideas, and the why is super important. And so with that too, are you doing research on data or any other findings, competitor findings? Like what other information are you gathering when you're presenting some of these ideas?
I think I look to Sephora reviews for a lot of my data. Like we are in Sephora and, we really are, we're trying to be a great brand at Sephora. And I think, people's feedback and seeing comments is really what drives, maybe we should change something, or also like wearing the product. Like, as I said earlier, I probably have been wearing the highlighter for a while, but I had to figure out, like, do I really think it's sensorial, like that glass like sheen? Like, what is it like when I'm outside versus inside, and like playing with stuff to get to really know the product, to then recommend, maybe we should use these directions, or maybe we should change this to that. So
Yeah.
Sephora is a great place to look.
Yeah. Great idea. Thinking about who's distributing your product and what are the customers that are buying products from that distributor saying, what do they want and looking for, especially if you're trying to build a relationship with them. That's a really great tip. And I want to go back really quick to building out those seasonal campaigns. So any tips for collaborating cross department? So you mentioned you work a lot with the PR, the social team, sales, education. I mean, there's, I'm sure, a number of different categories and departments that you work with.
Totally.
So any tips for that, but also how is the information that you're providing to these departments, how is that differing? Do you have to kind of craft that information depending on who you're giving it to? How does that look like for you?
Totally. And I think it really starts with this when we present the, like when we presented the spring 2023 campaign copy and assets. Like, I think starting there, being like, hey, everyone, here's the product lineup. Here's what the product does. Here are the names. Here's the benefits. Here's what Selena will look like. Here are the assets. So I think starting there, being like, hey guys, here it is. And then, the copy won't necessarily change. I feel like some teams use more than others, depending, like the mailer will probably have a booklet sometimes, or just like one line of copy. But Grace and I look at all projects. So whether that be an education video, the PR mailer, so we ensure that everyone is on the same page, which we do have these forms that have like all of the product information on one page, so everyone has those and can like look back when they are building out all of this copy and stuff. But I think we present to the teams. We also will look and approve copy as well, just to make sure everyone's like on the same page. And we want to make sure the same message is being said. I feel like in undergrad, I saw something where like your consumer will see something 8 times. So you want to make sure that that message is the same 8 times, because then they'll finally, figure out and understand what you're trying to do.
Completely. Yeah. The different touch points is something that's often overlooked. You think someone is just going to your social media and looking and then buying right away. And no, it's really, they're seeing it on social media. They're seeing it in advertising. They're hearing about it, on the podcast or radio or wherever you're advertising. They're reading about it in articles like the best new highlighter of 2023 or whatever it is, and that's so true. And you don't normally think about that. So that's so interesting. So wait, this highlighter, now that you've been talking about it forever, I am so intrigued. Is this the one that Selena had a very intimate, like, get together in New York with the influencers? Is that the same product?
She's right here. I have her right here.
It's like in this nice
little pebble.
Oh, it's gorgeous. You can even see we're literally, she's in California, we're in Florida. Over Zoom, you can see how gorgeous it is. So.
Yeah, no, it's really pretty. And then like you can like swirl it in, and like it's just this nice. Gosh. This is shade Mesmerize, which is one of my favorites. It's like this nice pinky bronze shade. So, but yes, that's when she did that event in New York. And our PR team like thinks of these ideas once they see, the highlighters, like, oh, maybe we should do this and this for this activation. So
cool. Awesome. I love to hear the inside scoop on like all of those things. That's like my bread and butter is brand partnerships and influencers. So loving to hear that. But we'd love to know what's next for you. What's, outside of Rare Beauty, in Rare Beauty, where do you see your career headed in the next few years? And if you don't know, that's also totally okay. You mentioned earlier just kind of resting in where you are and kind of enjoying it, because you are in a great position and you're learning a lot. But I don't know if you have a vision for the future of your career.
have been thinking upon this, and I
Yeah.
think people are also like intrigued to know. I think, eventually like going, I know, and on the horizon, brand manager will hopefully be coming up soon. But I think being like a director of brand or even being a CMO, I would love to do that. I'm kind of thinking about going back to school. That's kind of like a dabble of getting my MBA.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
we'll see how that comes to fruition. But I think I'm in a great place. I think definitely marketing. I really want to stay in the marketing pathway. I love the beauty industry. I don't know if maybe I would leave or come back. We'll see how that is. But I think marketing is such a great tool to have. You have to market everything from shoes and the grocery stores. Like there's so many things that marketing could translate into other industries. So definitely beauty for right now. So we'll see,
Love it.
Yeah, it's such a great space. If you do go get your MBA, let us know and we'll have to chat with you about that again, just because it's an idea that I find a lot of people in our space and at our age want to do, and they're just not sure how to start, what to do,
Yeah.
how to navigate all that stuff. So please keep us posted
Totally.
because would love to hear about that experience too. That's so awesome. Well, Jaylen, this interview has just been such a treat. So thank you for joining us. But we want to ask a question as we close out that we love to ask all of our guests. And that is, what do you know now that you wish you knew early on in your career?
Oof, that's a great question, because I feel like there's some days where I'm like, oh wow, like I'm going in this direction, but there's still things like I could work on personally too. But the thing that really stuck out with me, and I'm still working on it, is it's okay to ask questions or for help. I was a big, if you would have interviewed me going out of college, like I'm like, I have everything together. Like I know how to do this and that, but there are some days where I do need to ask for help. And, you're not weak for asking questions or asking your manager to help you out. They're there to help you. Like Grace has to tell me that sometimes, being like, I'm here to help you as much as you are to help me. Right. And I'm like, wow, that's actually smart. Like, that's a good point. And as I was thinking about this, like, how do you expect to grow and do something if you don't know how to do it? So, if I want to be a brand manager, like I'll have to ask some questions, then eventually know how to do this so that I will become the brand manager. So, food for thought, it's okay to ask for questions or help. Like, I feel like it's okay. It really is. It's not the end of the world.
It doesn't show weakness when you ask questions. I think it actually shows strength, because you're gaining the confidence to go out there and say, I don't necessarily know how to do this, and I'd like to find out, and I'm asking the right people to figure that out. So yeah, great
Totally.
answer. So good. Such a good word of advice. But Jaylen, I do have one more question for you, kind of fun. Just because I have to know the answer to this. You mentioned the highlighter a lot, but if you had to only have one rare beauty product for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Oh man, why are you doing this to me? This is such a hard question, and I feel like it changes.
The pressure's on. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I
Or
would say,
two. You can name a couple too if you have a few. That's totally fine.
oof. Blush is my absolute favorite. The soft pinch liquid blush. I obviously have all the shades, but they are great. Like, I think we have some great dewy formulas, some matte ones I really love, like Happy's a good one, Grateful, Grace. I could go on. Also the highlighters. Okay, I'll pick two. The soft pinch liquid blush and our new positive light silky touch highlighters.
Fantastic. I haven't tried either, surprisingly, so I need to look into that. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I would love for everyone to just hear how they can find you, follow along with what you're up to in your career, and also buy all the wonderful rare beauty products.
Totally. I'm Jaylen Adams on LinkedIn, and then on Instagram, I am JAYXLEN if you want to follow me there. Sometimes I post about work and other things, but you can get rare beauty at Sephora or rarebeauty.com. So
fantastic.
Exciting.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome.
Thanks, Jaylen.
Of course. Thank you.
What an awesome conversation with Jaylen. I don't know about you, but I was fascinated hearing how one of my favorite beauty brands brings their products to life. If you also enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. And this is where we normally say to follow us on Instagram at marketinghappyhr and just sign off. But this week, I get the amazing privilege of sharing that our website is now live. Head over to marketinghappyhr.com to check it out. That's marketinghappyhr.com, and stay tuned for more Marketing Happy Hour goodies to come.